I wanted to share a quick story from today with you guys that I think illustrates why it's equally important that we use discernment on ourselves, not just on other people in the outside world. And I think this story kind of illustrates the difference between when we need to access personal power to show up for something versus when we need to access self-truth and maybe rest and recuperate. So this week has been kind of crazy, all over. And I did not sleep worth a shit last night, which I think a lot of people didn't. But my point in saying this is an overarching truth of my life right now is I'm somebody who goes to work out. I find fulfillment in that. I find satisfaction in that. It makes me feel good. It's helping my health. Great. So that's like this overarching truth for my life. But then there's nuance with how you interact with that truth day by day, situation by situation, how you feel, right? So I slept like crap last night. It was a completely chaotic day, completely chaotic week. I got out of work late. I almost wasn't going to make it home in time. Like all the things, right? All the reasons to have a perfectly legitimate excuse not to go. And I was going back and forth with myself. I'm like, it's going to be so tight. I'm going to be rushing. I just don't even know if I'm going to make it. I'll cancel now. I'll text them, let them know. And I stopped for a second because that's a familiar thing that we do. We have lots of good reasons, lots of good excuses why we don't want to necessarily go do the thing that we know that's good for us. Why we don't want to face a discomfort, why we don't want to, you name it. And so I had to sit there for a second and I kind of had to discern in that truth what's true for me today. And the truth for me today was, yes, I was tired, but I also had a lot of like chaotic energy that I was like, I need to move my body. I feel like I need to go move. I know I will feel better after I go do it. And so then I have to kind of talk to myself and say, okay, well, are you going to feel satisfied that you choose to stay home and rest, which is valid in some situations, or are you going to feel satisfied that you chose to access your personal power and show up for the thing, show up for yourself? And today's truth was, no, I could make this work. It's a little chaotic, but I can ground when I get there. I will feel better when I'm done. I will feel satisfied having chosen doing it. I will regret resting today. Today, I have the capacity to show up and do the thing. So that's what I did. Now, here's the important part of this. Once we've kind of like reflected on ourselves and like, okay, am I making an excuse now? Am I procrastinating? Could I make this happen? Should I make this happen? But I'm trying to take the easy way out. Or legitimately, do I need to rest? Checking in with my physical body. Once I've made the decision that I need to go, that I will feel better, I actually know that's what's best for me. That is the most satisfying choice for me. Then from there on out, we don't negotiate anymore. We're not negotiating further. Once we decide, we then switch into, okay, what do we need to do to make that happen? I have to get here by here. I have to get, right? We get that all organized and done. The reason that I'm saying this is because last week was also kind of a chaotic week at work. And there were some heavy things at work. Last week, I had to check in with myself. And I did choose self-rest last week for one day. And that was the correct answer. And so I'm kind of illustrating this because I think we hear a lot about we need to be discerning about people, and we need to be discerning about choices, and we need to be discerning about situations and all these things. But we also have to be discerning with ourselves because we're really good at manipulating ourselves too. We know our own triggers, right? We know our own excuses. We know how to justify why not to do the thing. And the really important part is sometimes the truth is, even though I'm somebody who chooses to go work out, there are going to be individual days and situations where I'm like, actually, my truth today is actually, I do need to rest. And sometimes my truth is, no, you need to access some personal power here and you need to make this happen. The truth of the matter. And only we can answer this for ourselves. But I think calling this out, because a lot of times we get swept up in the legitimate excuses, and then pretty soon we are now down a slippery slope, right? So it's more about, who do you choose to be? What is the truth in the moment? Because that changes day by day, energy by energy, situation by situation, cycle by cycle. And then once you have decided, stop negotiating with yourself. Go do the thing. Choose which one you're going to be satisfied with in the end. Because the truth is, we can either be uncomfortable now or we can be uncomfortable later if we're having to challenge a situation. So I hope that example is helpful, but I think discernment is equally important, if not more so, when we have to discern for ourselves.